Welcome to E4 Electric, your number one source for what's happening now in the world of electric cars. Today we're going to be talking about Tesla insurance. Well, how some insurance company in Britain is actually lowering the rates for the Autopilot if you're using it, if you're a Tesla owner, and if you're using it, which is probably going to set a trend, hopefully, for the rest of the world, and it actually makes sense. So we're going to talk about it, but before that, if this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. If you're interested in everything that's going on in the world of electric cars, you came to the right place, so please go ahead and click on that subscribe button down there and a bell notification icon so you don't miss anything moving forward, but most importantly, become a part of this community. All right, well, so let's talk about this British company called Direct Line, and they are now announced that they're going to give 5% discount for Tesla owners who have an Autopilot and using it because they believe that this is safer. Well, the research, and there's a study that, well, I shouldn't probably say study, it's just simply statistics, that after Tesla introduced the Autopilot, their drivers' crash fatality, and I'm not really sure of fatalities, I think it's just crashes in general, have gone down 40%, which is amazing, really, if you think about it. And of course, just having a car, you know, smart computer making decisions for you a lot of times is, of course, is better than us, you know, eating something, texting, and paying attention to something that we shouldn't be paying attention to. So it just makes sense, okay? Now, this company, Direct Line, is not necessarily saying that, well, okay, well, this is for sure. They're saying that they're trying it out. They're gonna do more research on this to get their own data, and then, of course, they're gonna move forward with this as well. Now, a quick reminder, there is a startup in the United States that kind of also offered discounts to Tesla owners with Autopilot, I believe earlier this year. I forgot even their name. I think their name is Root Insurance. So really a kind of a startup insurance company, but nevertheless that already exists. I think they started in March. And of course, and this is another thing that I think people kind of either don't know or forgot, but you know, Tesla has come up with their own insurance option on their website, and they quietly rolled it out with any kind of announcements and never mentioned it to anybody again. Now, I did a story like a lot of news outlets about this because it was a big deal. I myself have tried submitting a quote because this is a Liberty Mutual, essentially, right? This is a Tesla sending customers to Liberty Mutual and basically saying, hey, take care of these customers. Well, they haven't been. First of all, I believe I was just, I submitted my form and they never got back to me at all, like ever. Then I pushed a little bit because I did want to find out if their rate is any better. And then I realized that it's actually much higher. And then I did a survey on my Facebook page where, I have mainly Tesla Model S owners. And they too said that some of them had the same experience when the Liberty Mutual did not get back to them. Some of them said that the rate was kind of the same. Very few said it was better, but the majority said, and I think it was like 50% at some point, that the rate was worse. So I'm not really sure what's happening there. I mean, it's something that I thought would be something that Tesla would think through and would be able to guarantee better rate, or at least have a really good, chance for most of us to have a better rate. But that just hasn't happened. Now, the website is still up. That part of their Tesla website is still up. You can try it yourself. Let me know what has happened. And, in the live chat here, let me know as well if you guys had a better experience than me and most of the members of my Facebook group with this. So, yeah. Listen, here's a real reason that I'm doing this story is because this is yet another industry that Tesla is disrupting, and not just Tesla now, right? Just autonomous driving is something on the minds of a lot of people. We have a CES show coming up in January. There will be a lot of new technology in autonomous driving that's going to be unveiled, and a lot of companies are moving forward with this. As you know, Waymo is actually already doing the driverless, and literally there's like nobody in the driver's seat, vans, and testing this in, I believe, in Arizona. So that's a company that's already ahead of Tesla, but also GM has bought Cruise, so Chevy Bolt is being tested with the Cruise technology, and just so many others. These cars are gonna start driving better than us. They already are driving better than a lot of us, but it's definitely going to get better and better. And therefore, at some point, maybe there will be no need for insurance at all. Just at all. Why? Because, all cars are kind of going to be as perfect as it gets, and there really shouldn't be any crashes unless they're like software bugs and so forth. But then I'm assuming that would be the fault of the manufacturer that will actually take that burden on, and there will be no burden of driving on the driver at some point. So this is the first step. I know it's just in Britain. I know it's just the first, or well, second company really that came out with it. But I think this is a trend that we're going to see, and definitely, especially, you know, you guys who are driving Teslas know that our insurance is really not that cheap. I'm with Farmers myself. They're giving me the best rate, and I've tried switching to others, and I still pay almost $200 a month on each of my Model S. Okay, so let's move on to another story that's actually, well, first let me mention, of course, that this channel and this video is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla drivers. I am also myself am a user, so and a customer. But let's move on to another interesting story. So as you know, BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, Audi, and I think Ford have joined forces together in Europe to create kind of a competitor supercharger network to Tesla. They're planning to have 400 of those in Europe by the end of 2020. It's a joint venture between those companies, and they're kind of building them up level 3 charging, and that's good news. Well, BMW just got involved in another project. I believe it's called Fast Charge. I think also Porsche is part of it, and Porsche isn't, they're part of Volkswagen. No, I'm sorry. Porsche and BMW and their Siemens and a few other companies that I actually never heard of. They're also getting a grant, a government grant as well. And what they're going to do is they're actually going to research how fast can you actually charge. Because don't forget, it's not like it's not a race to infinity. There are some major limitations to this, how much electricity you can pump into a car, and most importantly, really, how hot it's going to get, right? I mean, even when you're charging or supercharging your Teslas, you know that the cable gets really hot, in some cases even melts a little. Now, that's malfunction. If you're having that problem, definitely report it to Tesla and just stop charging. But, there's some physical limitations to it, so they're researching, they're trying to understand how fast can you really charge. And that's kind of a I guess it's a good thing. I don't know if Tesla already knows the answer to that, but the fact that they're doing it and they're trying to figure out, again, it's a good step forward. So I thought it would mention it. So it's BMW, Porsche, Siemens, and a few other companies in Europe. All right, let's switch to my favorite topic, which is comment of the day. This one I just didn't get back to the other day when I was going through them. This comes from one of the regulars. Cook Arpaw says, reason why the Tesla Google deal did not go through. Musk also reportedly asked Page to guarantee him either another 8 years running the company or enough time to produce a third generation mainstream electric car. That is the Model 3. So I stand corrected because I didn't really remember, but it is actually a pretty cool story because I don't think a lot of people know that, Tesla almost went belly up. And I believe it was twice. Well, really, the major one was once when they closed their round of financing, like at the last hour before they had to go bankrupt, and I think it was Daimler actually put their money in there, and that's how they've survived. But also, Elon Musk has almost sold Tesla to Google, and they literally, like, the deal was almost there, everything was set to go, and one thing that the reason that the deal fell apart was because Elon Musk wanted to stay on to run the company all the way to the he said basically 8 years. That's what he thought that would be enough time to do the third generation, which now we know is the Model 3, which is a shame. Well, it's not really a shame, I guess, because it's Google's loss. I don't know why they didn't really see the vision. Maybe Page and Musk weren't really compatible or whatever. I've heard Musk is a tough character himself. But that's actually an interesting part of the news that I kind of wanted, not the news, but interesting part that I didn't remember the last time I was talking about it. So that's kind of cool, I guess, for Tesla and a loss for Google. Gabriel in the chat says no insurance will be here all the time because it is a mandate for government. Well, yes, of course it's a mandate from government right now, but at some point in the future, I guess that's the point I'm trying to make, is that we're not going to need insurance because all the cars are going to be autonomous. No one's going to be really driving, and therefore the burden of safety is going to be on manufacturers and the software makers that are producing that software. So there will be no need for that. And I think that's a good thing because, I mean, you know how many people die in car crashes? I believe it's 50,000 people die. I'm talking about just get hurt and, you know, we're talking about dying. 50,000 people in just the United States. I think it's been lower lately. Maybe it's down to actually maybe 40 or 30, but some amazingly high number that should really never happen. All right, so Tony in the chat says, Elon had a vision that Google wasn't aligned to. I'm glad it didn't work out at the time. Yeah, I mean, that's probably what happened. I mean, why else would you not allow Elon stay on if he's a creator, founder, and a visionary behind the brand? Is because the vision didn't match up. I guess you can say that's good for Tesla, but we never know how far further Tesla would have gone with Google's backing, with Google's technology, with Google's staff, and so forth. I mean, it worked out just fine, and I'm glad it's a separate brand rather than a brand that's been swallowed by a bigger brand. Derek in the chat room says, Allstate Insurance provides me with a quotation for $167.50 per month. Of course, it's hard to compare rates. I mean, like, for example, it's lower than my rate, but at the same time, we don't know what your setup is and what they're charging you for, your driving record, and so forth. So compare that to Farmers, Progressive, and so forth. I would stay away from Geico personally, to be honest with you, but you can compare and see, in comparison to other companies, are they the cheapest? And that's what I would be interested to find out. Bromance correctly so says Google destroyed project for ARA for modular phones. You know, Google destroyed a lot of projects, a lot of them actually, and it's astounding that Google has such probably the toughest company here in Silicon Valley to get into. You literally have, I know some people who take a month off of their lives just to prepare and go through the interview with Google. And they don't even hire you, from what I understand, to a position. They just hire you to swallow you into their, you know, organization and then find the right spot for you. And I think that's a really bad hiring practice, if you ask me. But that's so many Google projects have failed, including their own autonomous car project, including just Google. I mean, I can go on and on. So yeah, maybe Google is not the right company in generally to guarantee a project to go into a full completion. Gabriel in the chat says, Geico, why stay away? I mean, my experience from Geico, and I think a lot of other people who I know experience with Geico, is that, you know, if you want the cheapest rate and that's your number one priority, they might just be the company for you. But if you want them to take care of you when there is a problem, when there is an accident, when you need them to negotiate with another insurance company when there's an accident and so forth, just a response time, just, you know, care, customer service, that is at the bottom of the barrel. They're just not going to take care of you in most cases, from what I've heard. To be honest with you, I've tried getting a quote from them as well. They only have one agent here in the entire San Jose area. Mind you, San Jose area has about 1.2 million people living here. It's larger than San Francisco. They didn't get back to me. That one agent that they have here never got back to me, which is totally tells you that, you know, but if you want the cheapest rate, Geico may be something you want to consider. If you want to be taken care of and have a long relationship with your, you know, insurance agent, I would not. Bromance in the chat room says, Alex, I think Tesla has the fastest charging speed possible without degrading the battery. A solid state is the only way to change that. Yeah, I agree with you. And as a matter of fact, it could be that once those networks are set in place to charge the lithium-ion batteries, the technology will move on to a solid state. That's where it seems like it's going. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, guys. So while this is the news, I appreciate all the comments. I'm going to be going on. One thing I forgot to mention. My Patreon page, guys. If you're interested in supporting the channel and also getting some exclusive footage and behind-the-scene footage, go ahead and browse to the Patreon page. I appreciate your contribution. The link is in the description of this video. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for those who already contributed. I will see you guys next time, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And other than that, just remember to stay charged.